Welcome to our discussion about creating links within HTML. Links are sometimes referred to as hypertext or hyperlinks. They are those segments of your code that allow the end user to be able to click and be transported somewhere else. They're vital to the usefulness of the web. Without them, a person who would want to go from one page or one subject matter to another wouldn't be able to just click a mouse. They would have to actually retype in a new URL for every page they wanted to visit. Not very practical or user-friendly. You can think of links as a type of directional device. When someone clicks on something on the web, there's code in the background that's telling the web browser where to go next, or what file to show you next. As part of this discussion, it's important to understand the distinction between two broad types of links. There's relative links and absolute links. Again, we can use the directions analogy. With a relative link, the directions assume you're in a specific place. Take, for instance, the idea of being on a college campus. You may tell someone to get to that room, just go down the hall and turn to your right. That assumes that you're starting down the hall. An absolute link or absolute directions would assume that you don't know where the person is starting. You need to give them directions that will work from any location. An example to get to that same classroom may be, first you have to go to the United States, then to Michigan, then to our hometown of Muskegon, then to Marquette Avenue, turn into the parking lot, go into the front doors of the college, go down the hall, and then turn to your right. You can see that if I was coming from another state, the directions I gave earlier, the relative directions, which assumed I was on campus, wouldn't do me any good. If I was in Oklahoma and you asked, how do I get to your classroom? And I said, go down the hall and to your right, that really wouldn't help you. The absolute link works no matter where it would exist on the web. A relative link can only be used in specific locations on the web, assuming that the person is starting at a known spot, a spot that's known to the coder, the person developing the web page. The first type of link we're going to look at are the relative links, the ones that assume that you're going to start in a specific location. We'll do that now by starting the exercise in Unit E of your textbook on pages 104 and 105. As you can see by my Windows Explorer window here, I've already taken the E1, 2, 3, 4 files as suggested in step 1 in the exercise on page 104 and changed them to the names specified in the exercise. I've taken the CSS file and renamed it to lakeland.css, and so now we should be ready to go. The first thing we're asked to do is edit the index.html file, and I'm going to do that right now. We're supposed to go just below the h1 tag and add a div tag at the same level of indentation as the h1. I'm going to go ahead and close that div tag as well. And then we are going to put a p tag, and we're going to indent that just a little more with an ID of main nav. And this is going to be the ID that we're going to apply to the navigation bar that we're going to be creating here in just a moment. Your book then asks you to type the word home, space, and then a pipe. A pipe can show up on different places on your keyboard, but it usually is just this up and down line. I'm going to go to the next line and type in about us, space pipe. And this pipe symbol is used specifically to divide up these navigation items. It's a divider between each of these individual items that should be standalone. Home, about us, rooms, reservations. Local weather, and directions. Now I'm not going to put a trailing pipe here because for whatever reason the author decided they didn't want a pipe at the beginning and the end of the navigational string, just between each of the navigational items. And you could choose to do either. I have seen the navigation done with pipes on either end as well, but for now we'll just do exactly as the book says, put a pipe between each of these navigational items. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do step 6, where we are going to type the following code just as is in the book. And then after the home tag or home text, we're going to put a closing A tag. The first tag was an opening A tag and the second was a closing A tag. In between there was the word home. What this is going to do is it creates a relative link to the file called index.html, and the link itself is going to show up to the end user as the word home. Let me go ahead and complete the links as specified in the book. Tell us to create one for the About Us page. Again, I'm making sure that each time whatever I text I want to be a link, I'm surrounding by the A tags. And the last one that's asking me to tag is actually the reservations link. And in this case, they're saying to just use the name reserve.html. Now, as part of step 8, you're going to save this file. I'll do that right now. Then I'm going to pull open my web browser. And I'm going to open this in my web browser. Great. Now I have links to the first 4 navigational items, just as was requested in the textbook, to the home and About Us, rooms, and reservations. If I click on any of these, they should work. One of the things you'll notice when I go to the resulting page, I don't have navigation on the resulting page. No way to get back. We'll deal with that a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to use the back button. Then we'll go to the rooms page, use the back button again, and then go to the reservations page. At this point, you're done with the first exercise, creating relative links.